Well, hey, it's Alice Margaret and my brother Mark. He is our piano tuner and technician here at the studio, and I know that he works with a lot of y'all's pianos as well. But the other week we had our piano here in the studio was out of the studio, and my brother was working on it and he was regulating. So I wanted to have him come in and just talk a little bit about what was actually going on, why we didn't have the piano action in here where the rest of the piano was. So Mark, if you could just give us a little brief description about what was happening and why did we have to have the piano action taken away?
Okay, sure. The action had gotten to the point where it didn't play correctly. The back checks weren't catching. The keys were uneven and not level, and it played inconsistently. And so what we did is we took, this is a piece of this is what we had. There's 88 of them. And what we have is a side view of the action here. And we set the height of the keys so that they're all level. And some of them were not level. So we level the keys using punchings underneath the keys. And you can see there's different ones, and they get there's very, very thin ones. So there's lots of different levels of it. And set the dip, so how far down it goes. We set the hammer height so that it's the right distance from the string. And
can I ask you real quickly, if you were setting the hammer height, is there a screw or something that you have to utilize, or is there just, right down in there? Okay. That little spring there?
It's not a spring.
Oh, that little screw there. Oh, okay.
So then we set the let off as I don't know if this is working well, but as you press the key slowly, you can see the hammer goes near the string and then lets off. It drops down. And we adjust the drop, how far down it goes, and how close it is to the string when it lets off. And then when you play it, the back check catches the back of the hammer and keeps it from just bouncing and playing 2 or 3 times. And then when you release the tension, the pressure on the key, you can see it goes up. And you want it to go smoothly, not so fast and hard that it plays it again.
Okay.
And that's adjusted with a spring here. And what that does is it gets the hammer up high enough so that the jack can come back underneath the knuckle and play it again quickly, rather than having to release the pressure on the key all the way up as you would have to on a vertical piano. So this mechanism in here is different than a vertical piano. It doesn't have it. So in a nutshell, that's what it does. And as it goes up, as you press the key, the back of the key lifts the damper off the string to free the string so that it'll sound. Otherwise, it just sounds like this, a thud.
So how long does it take you to go through one hammer like that?
One piece of action?
Yes,
well,
one piece of the action.
You don't do one. You do one assembly. You level all the keys at once, and then you set everything all at once, all of the hammer heights at once. And we have a jig that we put up in the workbench that mimics the strings, the height of the strings, so that we can actually play the piano on the workbench.
Okay. So you're taking the action out of the piano, putting it underneath that jig, and then you can actually play each and every.
And that's what we have to measure off of. That's your foundation. That's your roof.
Okay, so everybody's piano on the on the insides, they're all of the same height, or is it based on what that?
No, I had to measure each one, each section, so that we can set the jig the right height.
Okay, well that's an interesting thing. I didn't know that. Okay, well, so how long does it take to do the whole thing?
Depends on how bad it is. How tired you are when you're working on it.
That makes sense.
How bad your knees hurt when you're on your knees working on it and leveling the keys and have to take breaks, and it depends.
Oh, so you have to do this on the floor as opposed to being on?
Well, you don't have the workbench up, but
Okay.
we have a jack stand to get it up.
Gotcha.
But no, we don't, and so it's a lot of it is down. Actually, we have a little stool that rolls around that gets us lower, kind of like a.
Like under the
Shops.
car,
Yes,
yeah,
that
under the
type
car.
of thing, one
Yeah.
of those cars,
Oh.
type of things.
Okay. So let me ask you something totally off the regulation. When we look at a side view of the action like this, is every grand piano designed the same? Or brand,
Essentially,
essentially?
there's different ones, but getting into that would be a lot.
Okay. That's okay.
But this is the majority of them, yes.
Okay.
I've worked on old grands that were 1850s or so, and they don't have all of this. And the square grands don't have all of this.
Okay.
It's very, very simple action.
Okay.
And a lot of times, also backtracking to your question a bit ago, if the hammer is worn, we have to shape the hammer before we start doing all of the action work, because the string is hitting down in the bottom of the groove and not the top, and so we're regulating it and we're looking at the top. If we don't file it, then we're looking at the top and not the bottom, and it can be a difference, a major difference.
Okay.
So we actually have to shape the hammer first, so that's more time.
Does it ever get to a point that you actually have to just replace
Oh, absolutely.
this because you filed it so much?
Absolutely.
How many times would you?
Keystrokes?
Yeah.
Keystrokes?
No. Three keystrokes, yeah.
No telling.
There's no telling, okay.
It depends on the quality of the piano and the workmanship. And even the buckskin here, some manufacturers go really cheap on that and they put a fake buckskin and it just wears it right out, and then the thing is flipping and it catches right here and it rubs it off, and then it is in two pieces.
Oh.
And that happens, and then you have to replace all of that.
So there seems to be a lot of parts that you have to know how they all interwork together. And,
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
And they have to travel. They have to travel straight. If you have a hammer that comes up at an angle, it's going to rub off the end of the hammer. So you have to travel it. And there's little pieces of tissue paper that we put underneath the traveling paper. So we put to tip it one way or the other to make everything travel straight.
So this is probably not a job that an amateur should be doing.
No. Well, you can try, but I'll be there afterwards to clean up the mess.
Yeah,
And that happens.
I'm sure. Okay. Wow. Mindy, did you have any other questions?
Not really. It was interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
Stuff I haven't learned.
Well, again, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed seeing what was happening on the insides of the piano and the regulation of it, and I hope that you'll enjoy playing it. Mark, thank you for coming. I
welcome.
appreciate you coming out and showing everything. So thanks for watching. We'll see y'all later.